Okay, so we're just going to do a quick test. Matthew, can you hear us in Zoom?
Testing, testing.
Yes, I can hear you well on Zoom, Sam. Thank you.
Great. Okay, and Johanna, looks like Legistar is working. So, Chair
Johanna, do
Sabatier,
you have audio?
I think we are
I'm
ready.
here. Yep,
We are
Wide
ready to.
Manager's ready.
Excellent. Okay, we're ready to move forward.
All right. Thank you very much, Sam, for getting us back up and running. We're back at 11:38 a.m. We're going to take up our 6.5 item, 11:30 a.m., public hearing, discussion and consideration of appeal AB 21-04 of the Planning Commission, approval of major use permit UP 21-10, and adoption of initial study IS/MND 21-10 for a commercial cannabis cultivation license, Sours HVR, Clear Lake Oaks, APN's number 006-004-07, project location, and contiguous parcels 006-002-04, 006-004-06, 006-002-09, 006-04-24, 00-004-25, and 006-009-36, and I'm gonna question that second to last APN. I'm guessing it's probably not 00-004-25. That doesn't look right to me, and I didn't catch that upon reading that earlier. Just want to make sure we say the right.
What is?
It was on the main agenda. It was the second to last number that starts with 00-004-25. Just seems like there's a number that is missing. I've never seen an APN start with 00000.
It's most likely 006.
That's what I'm guessing, but it's a guess.
No, that is correct, 006. That is what is in the subject line of the cover memorandum.
Okay.
So yes,
Thank
that
you for
next to
checking on
last
that.
number should be 06004-25.
Okay, thank you. Needed that correction to make sure I read that out correctly. We did receive a request for an extension for this item. I want Ms. Grant to speak on that, provide us some idea of what the request is for and why.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You have received a request for a continuance from the attorney by the appellant in this case. Part of the reason, though certainly not the only reason, has to do with the fact that an extensive Public Records Act request was made. Those documents, a large number of those documents have been provided. Obviously, it takes staff time to locate and go through. And then the attorney in my office working with it has to go through to make sure there are not any legal reasons that would require a redaction, et cetera. So I believe that's largely the reason. I believe Mr. Johnson, the attorney, is on the line, and certainly he can speak to the other reasons why that might be necessary. And your board is certainly able to grant a continuance. It's well within your purview. It's not an unusual request to make a request to continue for any number of reasons. The length of time is certainly another issue that's completely up to you. If you have, for example, if your board were to determine to grant the request to continue, but there were people here today who wanted to offer comments or testimony, because all witnesses will have to be sworn when you begin, who wish to offer testimony who are not able to come on the date your board might continue it to, you certainly could take that testimony up and allow the attorneys who are present to ask what questions they can of those people if it should be deemed necessary. So it doesn't have to be just an all or nothing. However, if you're going to grant a continuance, then all parties would and should have an opportunity to regroup. So you have to be careful. You can't piecemeal it to any substantial degree, because you'll end up having to backtrack when you return to a hearing date.
Okay, and in the extension letter, I believe it requested for 11/16. Is that correct?
I believe that's correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that the rest of the board was aware of that, and I think we all received an email about that. I will just speak quickly that with the fact that it's an unfortunate situation and for absolute good reasons, I don't think that Supervisor Crandall had a choice in being absent today at all. This is an important project in his district, and I think that he needs to be here to ask questions. So to do a portion today and a portion another time just seems like that would take away his ability to ask those questions directly rather than just reviewing on video. So I am in favor of providing the extension, whether it's through November 16th or not, I don't know. What kind of timeline does your staff need to finish up the PRA?
I think that Supervisor, that it's largely emails that have been left, and I think they number in the hundreds still, but certainly by the end of this week, all documents that are responsive to the PRA will be provided. So that would be by Friday close of business at the latest.
I guess my next question goes to CAO Hutchinson on what that, I do have an idea of what that agenda looks like, whether or not it's changed a lot since that last viewing, and what does the 2nd of November look like?
One moment.
Because I would like to bring this to a close as quickly as possible with a final decision. And so if all the information is provided at that point, I think it's good for us to be able to move forward and bring this back to the board, but I also want to make sure that it fits within the range of stuff that's already on there. Ms. Grant?
And Mr. Chair, you may also wish to inquire of the project applicant in terms of continued hearing dates to ensure that it's not an issue.
Yeah, for both, for all.
Right.
So we're looking at both November 2nd and November 16th dates, yes?
Or the 26th, but I'm thinking the 26th might be...
23rd?
No, I was looking at the 26th of
October
October.
26th. Okay, yes, thank you. I have that one right here.
Thought I was on the wrong month again.
So the October 26th agenda, the draft at least at this point, does look like an appeal of this nature could fit on that agenda.
Mr. Chair, if I may, if your board
Please.
determines to continue it just a week, I'll put additional staff on the Public Records Act request, and those records will be provided to the appellant by close of business tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. And before I open it up for the appellant and applicant, as well as our CDD staff, I think it's important to understand whether they have the capability to be here for this as well, because that's very important. Do you guys agree on 1026? Do you guys think that's too quick? I'm just kind of looking to poll before asking for others to respond to that as well.
I agree with the 1026 date. I do believe that Supervisor Crandall needs to be present for this decision.
My thought is to give it a little bit more time. You know, the second seems, you know, a little more reasonable as far as the time goes, but ultimately it'll be, once you ask those other questions, but, you know, I understand wanting to get it back, but I also want to make sure that we get all the information, so when we do hear it, we can come to a final agreement, so that's my thoughts on it.
And do you have any idea of 11-2, what that looks like so far? Is it just too far away and probably very empty?
No, I actually...
Chair, this is Brad Johnson, appellant's attorney. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but at this moment in time, we're having a board discussion with staff, and we will call you at a later time.
So the assistant clerk of the board also just pointed out to me that we have another hearing, and we also have assessment appeals on the 26th, so that date may be
Okay.
tighter than originally thought. As far as November 2nd is concerned, you may recall that I was hopeful your board might be interviewing health services director candidates that day. I don't know yet the size of the candidate pool. Won't know that for a few days. But it is not firm yet. Your board does not meet November 9th. And then in looking at the 16th, and Johanna, I know you can hear me, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks to me like the 16th would be a possibility. In other words, not a lot of big items on that agenda so far.
That's correct.
Okay. And again, wanting to bring it to the board, let's figure out what we think is the best before going back out to.
The request, you know,
The
we
request
have
was
is
the
the
16th,
16th,
yeah.
so.
So you're good with waiting
I'm
till the
good with
16th? That way we
yes.
make sure that the information is received and processed through, and then we can get it on an item that we know we have the time to really put into it. Okay. I'd love to hear from the appellant, since that's the reason that we're here today is because of the appellant. So let's go ahead and open it up for Brad Johnson.
Thank you, Chair Spadier and Supervisors. So the November 16th date works well for our schedule. That's the reason we specified that date. So we would appreciate and certainly support a continuation to that date.
Okay. And then looking for the applicant, is there any comment?
Yes, thank
If you can come to the microphone, please.
Yes, thank you. My name is George MacDonald. I'm an attorney with Katzoff and Riggs here in Kelseyville for the applicant. The applicant would like to have this heard and determined as soon as possible. Really, the October 26th, 1 week from today, seems like that would be the best date for the applicant. We were planning to have it heard today, but we understand Mr. Crandall's absence makes that difficult. And really, any relevant documents, as our understanding, have been public since the last hearing, and they're on the county's website. We're not aware of anything that would be public record and relevant that was going to come to light and result to this public information request that wasn't filed until October 8th, in any event, when this appeal has been pending since July 28th. So really, we don't think any new information that's relevant to the decision is going to come to light at all. So we'd like this to be heard as soon as possible. As I'm sure the board is aware, it's extremely difficult to operate a farm under the EA, under early activation. It's very constraining, and you know, they're trying to begin farming operations, but they're hamstrung by what they're able to do. So they would like it to be determined as soon as possible. And I mean, this application is extensive and comprehensive. There's been 3 water studies done. There's been a traffic study. Everything, all the grounds brought up in the appeal, they have been thoroughly addressed. Really, we're concerned that this is a delay tactic. I'm not sure if the Van Pelts have requested this continuance. That's not really clear from the continuance request itself. Who does Mr. Johnson represent? That's a question we have. And we'd like that to be clarified. And we'd also like to be involved in the public records request response, our office, if we could please be copied to that information. Mr. Riggs, my supervisor, has been in touch already, I believe, regarding that. So that's the applicant's position, is they'd like to have this decided as soon as possible. They're ready to proceed. We're not aware of any more information that could possibly be done. I mean, study upon study upon study has been done. So they'd like to proceed forthwith, and with respect to the continuous, we do request a clarification about who exactly is requesting that. Thank you.
And so one of the questions I wanted to ask is, are you available on November 16th? I want to make sure that...
So November 16th is somewhat problematic for the applicant. There is a conflict on that day. We will make it work if that is the day. However, the 26th and the 2nd would be better dates.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then I'm looking at CDD. Is 1116 a problem at all? I think that you have the most in-depth knowledge of this, not us, that will be listening to all that information, and so having you present is very important.
I will be available, yes.
Okay. I don't disagree that I want this to end as quickly as possible. Whenever there's an appeal, it puts a business on hold, any business, no matter what the appeal is for. But at the same time, I want to make sure that there's not any questions or any suspicions, especially when it comes to Public Records Act request of this was not followed up on in a proper amount of time, not given enough time to process. We need Supervisor Crandall to be here as well, and we have to figure out how to fit it into all the other agendas that are already filling up. At this moment in time, it would seem that the 16th is going to be our best option. As you heard in our earlier conversations, we were trying to see how we can get it to be done earlier, but that does not seem to be the case, and we want to make sure that everybody who's on our agenda gets the time that they deserve. So it looks to me like we're looking at the 16th. And so I'm looking for not moving any further than this, no presentation required at this moment in time, that I'm looking for a motion for a continuance, and I guess before that, I need to open it up for the public about the continuance, and so I will do so right now. Any comments from the public on the continuance? And I can't seem to find the public because, okay, there we go. So I see nothing on Zoom, and I see nothing in the boardroom, and so I am looking for action. And 11:30 a.m. on 11/16, same time? Okay, and so that's the motion I would be looking for.
Your board can move to approve the continuance of this matter, item 6.5, to November 16, 2021 at 11:30 a.m.
So
Second. Oh,
She
sorry.
beat you twice. We have a motion from supervisors. Hold on one second.
We had another timed item at 10 a.m. for the agenda on November 16th that has been withdrawn, so I wanted to offer that time slot if by chance you might prefer it.
I prefer it.
Johanna?
I was just going with what was on here for today, but at the same time, knowing, not to say that lunch is something that I should be thinking about for November 16th, but it's nice if we can get something, give it enough time to really have the proper discussion that this requires.
And Johanna, will you just confirm for me no other item has taken the place of the 10 a.m. item that was originally thought to be happening that day?
I would suggest having this one at 10:15, just in case I need to still put that item on the agenda.
Okay,
I need
10:15
to check with the
10:15?
assessor. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I'll amend my motion to include the 10:15 a.m. item on the 16th.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Supervisor Simon and a second from Supervisor Scott. Johanna, roll call, please.
Okay, Supervisor Simon,
Yes.
Supervisor Scott,
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska,
Yes.
and Supervisor Sabatier.
Aye.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody. And that concludes item 6.5. Until then, we will be going back into closed session, and we will be doing items 8.2 and items 8.3. Conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code, Section 54956.9D1, Flash versus County of Lake. And 8.3, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1, Center for Biological Diversity, et al. Versus County of Lake, et al.
Mr. Chair, may I ask that the board also briefly take up 8.1, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D1, City of Clear Lake versus County of Lake?
You read it faster than I did. Yes, we will also be taking up item 8.1.
Was there action? Any action?
No action from the previous closed session.
I'm sorry? You'll tell me at the end.
We will tell you, we will come back in public if there is any action to take, yes.